The first of the three questions about each example ask about the repetition of the basic idea. Is it exact or close enough to be considered exact? Is it statement response? Remember that statement response is when the first basic idea is harmonized essentially with tonic harmonies. The second is harmonized with dominant harmonies. And the third is sequential repetition or model sequence technique. This is a harmonic sequence in the repetition of the basic idea. Question number 2, fast forward to the continuation. What is happening at the beginning of the continuation? In a standard 8-measure sentence, this would be measures 5 and 6. Is it fragmentation? And careful, this term is a little bit misleading. By that it means that what is in measure 5 is going to be repeated in measure 6. And the recurrence can be some sort of variation, or it can be exact. And measure 5 doesn't necessarily have to be identical to anything previously heard in measures 1 through 4. That's what's a little misleading about the word fragmentation here. Usually we talk about a previously introduced theme or motive that is repeated and fragmented, meaning not the whole thing is repeated, just a portion of it. But in this case, fragment means it's a one-measure motive. It may be new or it might be a repetition, but it's a one-measure motive that is then immediately repeated, and the repetition can have variation. Oh, acceleration of harmonic rhythm. Harmonic rhythm is the length that any harmony is sustained. If previously in the presentation the harmonic rhythm was such that the harmony changed every half note, then if the continuation exhibits the acceleration of harmonic rhythm, then you would expect the harmonic rhythm to change with every quarter note, if previously it was only every half note. Increase in surface rhythmic activity, that's usually evident in the accompanimental part, left hand. That's a stereotype, but it's often true. Harmonic destabilization sequential progressions. There is a semicolon there, so harmonic destabilization and sequential progressions. Well, you know what sequential progressions are. Harmonic destabilization meaning that you are going to have colorful chords. There can be secondary dominants, secondary leading tone, fully diminished sevenths, all sorts of harmonies that destabilize the prevailing diatonic harmony. The next question has to do with the cadence, and there's a variety of options here. Let's look at them in pairs. The first two, incomplete or complete cadential progression leading to a perfect authentic cadence. The variable here is incomplete or complete. This refers to the harmonic function of the Roman numerals in the cadential progression. If the harmonic function of the Roman numerals starts with a tonic function chord, moves through a predominant onto the dominant, which then resolves back to a tonic function chord, then it is complete. If the predominant is missing, or if it didn't start on the tonic, then it's an incomplete cadential progression. The next two also refer to incomplete or complete, but this time it's leading to an ornamented perfect authentic cadence. And by ornamented, that usually refers to the inclusion of a cadential 6/4 that resolves to 5/7 and on to the tonic. Usually cadential 6/4s do resolve to a 5/7, not always, but usually. The next two, imperfect authentic cadence and the half cadence. Note here that for Kaplan, all authentic cadences, in order to be real, the root needs to be in both the dominant and the tonic. So it needs to be a root position 5 chord going to a root position tonic chord. So the variable here that would make an authentic cadence imperfect is what's in the highest sounding voice. It won't be tonic, scale degree 3, or scale degree 5. Half cadence, anything going to 5. A perfect authentic cadence in the dominant that will be retrospectively interpreted as a half cadence. So you're in our favorite key of C major, and the cadence is 5, 7 of 5 going to 5, such that it looks on paper as if it's a perfect authentic cadence in the key of the dominant. If we're in C major or minor, the key of the dominant is G, so it would be a D7 going out to a G root position. Looks like a perfect authentic cadence, except it's not. Not in terms of the original tonic. In terms of the original tonic, it's a retrospectively reinterpreted half cadence. Deceptive cadence, anytime 5 leads to anything other than tonic. We usually refer to deceptive cadence, and I have previously, as 5 to 6 motion, where the root of the 5 chord ascends a step to resolve deceptively, 5 to 6. For Kaplan, deceptive cadence is anytime 5 goes anywhere except tonic. And then an expanded cadential progression. An expanded cadential progression is a complete cadential progression. What is expanded is the fact that it occurs over 4 measures versus a complete cadential progression that extends usually only over 2 measures. Also, a complete cadential progression usually starts on a 1/6, not a root position 1 chord. Not always, but that's a clue there. So expanded cadential progression occurs over 4 measures, and it's specifically cadential in its character.